Hello, this is Sandy from Doux Designs. Just gonna wait a few minutes, maybe not minutes, but just to give a couple of people a chance to pop on. For those who are joining on YouTube, thank you, and please be sure to like and subscribe before you leave so that you don't miss out, and it really helps the channel. So thank you so much. Hello. Make sure that somebody says hi when you pop on so that I know that I can see comments. I would greatly appreciate it. Hello, Rosie. Hello, Laura. So, hi, Anna. So, I got approval from Joy to show one of the stamps from one of the sets that are releasing. And they're going to release tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So, you can be ready to check them out because they are so cute. So the one that I chose to use tonight, are you ready? It is from Woodland Critters. And this, oh my gosh, isn't that just the cutest? So here's a card I made with it, and we're gonna make a different card tonight. But this is one of the images, and that's one of the sentiments. So there are going to be 3 sets and a stencil, which we are also going to use tonight. Hi, Becky. So we are going to use this stencil tonight to create the background to go with our critter. So this is going to be super fun. So we're going to put all the trees, we're going to put snow on them. We're going to build the background. We're not going to use the deer tonight because we have this one that we're going to color with Olo Markers. So if you want to see some coloring with Olo Markers, be sure to stick around. We're going to Oxide, we're going to color, and we're going to create our card. And I haven't picked the base for the card yet, but we'll get there. We're also going to use a bit of bling, a bit of pattern paper. So we have lots of stuff going on tonight, probably a little bit of this. This is Art Anthology's ice spray, which I think is pretty cool. So we're going to do that. And our sentiment that we're going to use tonight, hi Sandy, hi Becky, is from a previous release, which is called Night Divine. It actually has a mask over it, so so if you want to see, this one's already in the shop, but the new one is going to be the critters. But this is the image that we did in a previous release, but we're going to use this sentiment tonight because I'm trying to get my Christmas cards done, you guys. Oh, such a task. I usually make around 50 of them, so each one of these lives helps when I make a Christmas one, so that's what we're going to do tonight. So I didn't cut this one out or prepare it at all yet because I think I might want to color it a little bit, like put some color on the background or matte it or something. I haven't decided. I haven't decided on any of this stuff yet, so we're just going to wing it as we go. I just picked the items, but we haven't really done much with them. So I have right here in my little hand the waffle flower craft tool, which is sticky on both sides, and we're going to use that to hold our paper in place while we oxide color tonight. So as you can see, there's already a bit of staining on my mat, but it still works just as good as it did before. Hi Beth. Hello everyone, thank you for joining. If you're just joining now, you probably already missed the first sneak peek of the image we're going to use tonight that will be available tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Central Time. Let me pull this off, and then I will be able to show you. This is not an easy task, pulling this plastic off of this mat. It's a bit on the sticky side, but that is what its purpose is, so that's great. So I'm just going to lay it here on my desk. It's just going to give me a sticky surface so that we can put our paper down and work with our Oxide coloring. And then we'll lift it up when we're finished. But this is the stencil that we're going to use. It will be in the shop tomorrow morning. So not there yet, but will be very, very soon. I'm going to do like a sky background, but I wanted snow at the bottom, and I had to throw away my snow maker that you heat up with your heat tool and it makes snow. I had to get rid of mine because it was messed up. So I've chosen this paper right here, which has snow all over it. And we're just going to tear this a little bit and build snow hills. So I think that'll be really fun. Hi, Tanya. So I have chosen 4 Oxide colors. So Stormy Sky and Tumbled Glass for the background sky. These are sitting in the dual ink pad holder. It's rubber matted on the bottom so that it won't slide around your desk while you're coloring. And this is pine needles and ground espresso for our trees. So we're going to start with the sky, and then we'll move to the trees here in a few minutes. So I'm going to lift these up. We're doing the background first. Usually we do the image first, then the background, but I'm reversed it tonight just so that those who go to sleep early that might sometimes miss the Oxide part. We're going to actually do that part first tonight. So I'm going to add a little bit of this Stormy Sky around the back, top, and sides of the cardstock just to start building our sky here. And then we'll come in with the tumbled glass, which is, I don't want it to seem like it's nighttime, but I do want it to have a little bit of a feel of stormy weather just because, you know, it's snowing. And I'm from Texas, so I don't really know what snowy skies look like, but I have family in Pennsylvania, so I have seen what it looks like before it's about to snow, but it was a long time ago, so don't quote me on it. Your letter for Santa just got longer. You guys, there are 3 new sets being released tomorrow, and they are so adorable. Don't forget, we have a hop going on Instagram. Starts also at 8 a.m. in the morning, Central Time. And you'll be able to see like all the cards that the design team made with the images. But they're really, really cute. It's not all Christmas themed. In fact, the little one that we're using tonight isn't really Christmas. It's really a critter. And so you can certainly use it all year round. So it's not just for Christmas. So a release this time is not a Christmas release. Because we already did that with the elves and the nativity scene. And we have penguins. And we have lots of stuff. So we already have lots of things in the shop that are Christmassy. Plus I did tags on Tuesday night. If you missed that, you can see the replay in the group or on my YouTube channel, and those tags are super cute. So you can definitely use the stuff we have already for Christmas, but our release is not a Christmas per se release. So I'm just blending these 2 colors together because I want to have more than one color in the background. And I'm doing it a couple of layers just because I want to build it up. And my tumbled glass ink pad isn't pulling the ink off quite as well as I would like. So I added some before we went live. I added some ink to it, but it wasn't absorbing in it, so I'm not really sure what's up with that pad. But it isn't behaving quite as well as it should. So this is the sky area. We are going to build snow down here, but we're just not there yet. And next I want to put these trees in here. I'm going to start with one of the trees off the page over here. And then the rest of the trees will probably be built with this one because I want them to be a bit smaller. So that's my plan anyway. And I have this really awesome tape here that I use when I'm die cutting, but I'm also going to use it to just block this other tree so I don't accidentally color in it, because my Oxide brushes are pretty big and I don't want to accidentally put the color in there. So for now, I'm just going to cover it up so I don't have to worry about it. And then we're going to pull out our ground espresso and pine needles, appropriately pine needles, because that's what we're going to be building. So I'm going to start off with the green, and then I will put the brown in after I do the green. So we're going to start the green, and it will go right over the blue, which is very nice. And I want to make sure I don't go too far down the tree, but the tree is going to be brown, so it'll cover up any green, which is why I started with the green first, just in case I went too far down. So you want to kind of think about those things, I guess, when you're Oxide coloring, just to make sure that you don't mess anything up. So I got a smaller brush for this area right here. And I'm just going to color that area in. I'm going to do it just a little bit more careful than I normally would. I'm also going to just kind of go with the side of the brush sort of up the tree, just to kind of give a little bit of an example of the trunk going up the tree. I'm going to cover it a little bit with this so that it looks like it's hidden in all the brush of the tree. But I want to give the impression that it's back there. So I'm going to lift this up so you guys can see how this came out. So cool. And now we're going to build some more trees. And maybe I might actually do another one with this one, and then we will switch to, I think I want to build it up just a little bit higher. And then we'll switch to the other one. The smaller one.
Something I did when I was testing these,
yeah,
is that if you want to vary the height, just put some tape on the trunk at the lower part, and then you can have a smaller tree.
Yeah. Yeah, so what Dale was saying, in case you guys couldn't hear him, is when he was testing this stencil that he designed, he actually covered up the trunk to make the tree a little bit shorter. So you can also do that as well. Just kind of up to you on how you want to do it. But there is a smaller tree over here and over here, so you can definitely do it that way as well. But I thought I wanted another bigger tree. Kind of like this is going to be more in the foreground and the other ones are going to be back a little further, is kind of my plan.
And on this tree here.
Hi, Kathy.
On any of these trees, you can kind of mask off everything and just have the top if you want to do like little trees in the distance.
Hi, Lori and Christy. Oh, you love stencils? So you can also mask off the tree like this and make tiny trees all over the place if you want them to be even further away. So it's a really cool stencil that gives you a lot of versatility, which is always important, as you guys know, when you're doing stencils. The more you can do with them, the better they are. So this is just building the trunk inside the branches, just to give, you know, the illusion that it's in there. I just like to do that because I like you to be able to see a bit of the trunk. So that's why I added some of the brown in there. I knew that was going to pull a little bit of the green off, but okay, we're going to lift it up because I want the trees to go all the way across. So we're going to lift up our stencil. And just so you know, this stencil also has hills and mountains. If you want to use this section, you can use it to build your hills. But I've decided to use paper to do it because I want it to look like snow. So I'm peeling off these layers that I put on to cover up this tree because now I want to use this tree. So now it's time to build in this other tree. So I want it to be lower, closer, shorter, just a little bit different. And this time I'm going to place the tape over here so I don't color into this area where I already have done the trees. And I'm not going to press down because I don't really want to lift up a whole bunch of that color I already put down there. So that is the reason behind everything that I'm doing, just so you're aware of what I'm doing and why. I really like these trees. These, I think that they just make for an amazing little project. I'm going to cover up my little deer over here. You have a deer. You could build an entire scene with just this stencil. Completely up to you. Hi, Diana. Okay, and now we're going to do the bottom of the tree, and then like we did before, we're just going to put a little bit of the center part going up the center. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm just using the side of my brush. And then I'm going to go over it again with the green to kind of soften it up, just so it's there but not real visible. And then we're going to lift this up with all of our tape attached because when we put it back down, we want to be able to use it. So far, this is what we have. We're going to keep going, making just a few more trees. I want them to kind of go off the page, so I think I'm going to do another one of these smaller ones and then maybe a big one again off the edge of the paper. I think that'll be perfect. So another tree. This is so fun. I love building backgrounds. I like doing it with Copics. I like doing it with Olos. I like doing it with Oxides. So I think it's a lot of fun.
You want to show them a test?
I can. As soon as I'm done with mine. Okay, and then we're going to go up the tree just a little bit. This is almost like painting right here. You could use a paintbrush or you could use whatever you want. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm just using the brush that I used for the trunk.
Could you use an alcohol marker first and lay it down?
Yes, you could. So when I was testing, although the alcohol markers, you have to use alcohol to clean it off the stencil. But when I was playing around with it earlier, I used the Olo and I put a stem all the way up and then branches off. So you can do that as well. But look at how you can see the trunk kind of through the trees, which is what I really like about it. And that's why I did it that way. Okay, now we're going to put a big tree on this side. Last one. Last one. And then we'll move on to the next step. So gonna cover this one so I don't color on this one by mistake. And I'm going to put just a little bit over here attached to the stencil, but not to the paper, just so I don't go over the paper, because, you know, if you go over, you have a big line on your background, and we don't want that tonight. So we're not gonna do that. But again, for those that are popping in now, hey Mom, this is the new stencil that you can find at Pajama Crafter Stamps tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Central Time.
AM.
Yes, 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. Central Time. And as I said, don't forget about the hop that we're doing on Instagram, where the design team will show you what they've made with the new stamp sets. And I am really excited about this release. Hi, Marianne. So softening that trunk again so that it's in the background. And then we'll lift this up and we'll have our trees. Perfect. Oh, I love it. I hope you guys love it too. This is my background. Dale, when he was testing the stencil, came up with this one. So you can make the tiny trees, the big trees. You can put them behind the hills. You really can do anything that you want. But we want a snowy background to go with our cute little deer that we're going to be coloring tonight. So that worked out really good because the top is darker blue and the rest is lighter blue, which is exactly what I was hoping to get out of this. So perfect. I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to give it to Dale because he cleans it off for me. Isn't that great? It's my helper. He's my helper. So this is the paper. This is from Stampin' Up! From a couple of years ago. It was a whole pack of snowy papers. It's called Feels Like Frost. It's 6x6 DSP. And what I've done is I've taken this one and I've torn this into several pieces. So pieces for us to build a snowbank. So if you've ever torn paper and you want the top of the paper to show on the side that you're using, you have to tear from the right side. Just like that. And you just tear it however you want. Just some up, some down, whatever. So I have a few here, the way that I chose to do it. So I think what we're going to do is add a bit of the blue stormy sky along the edges just to soften that white a little bit. I don't want it to be dark. I don't want it to stand out. I just want it to be really soft. Hey, thanks, Becky. So just softening that up just a little bit by adding whatever was left on my brush. And then I'm going to use my Barely Art glue. I'm going to add the first layer. So we're going to add the first layer and the last layer, and then we'll put the middle layer on top. Pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. The first layer will go like this, and some of it you may be able to see, and some of you won't. That's why I wasn't so concerned about the blue that we were adding to it. So there we go. The second one that I chose was this one. Oh, I should have probably put it underneath, huh? Let's see if we can still lift it up. I should have started from the other one. Woohoo! I can lift it up. We probably want them all to be on top of each other. So this one will have to go on top of this one. So we'll just glue these two together first, and then we'll add our color on afterwards. So I'm just going to put it along the bottom because I only want to cover up that flat part. So I'm going to put that on there. If for some reason I added these up and they ended up being too tall, I could always cut from the bottom. So there we go. And then we want this one to be on top of that one. Like that, so that we have a full snowbank. So let's go ahead and add glue to this again. Luckily, we pulled it off in time. If you don't, once it's stuck with Barely Art glue. So, but we're going to cover all that so it won't really matter. But I want it to be down a bit further. So I'm going to do it like this. making sure that I'm covering all the pieces and that you can't see that I layered it up. So that's the plan. Now I'm going to add just, oh, I picked up the green. That's all right. It'll be okay. Let's add just a little bit more of this on there. Cover up our green. That's what happens when you have all that stuff on your desk. Don't worry, we're going to put some white and some ice sparkle on top, so it won't really even matter. Hi, Leslie. Now we're going to apply the whole thing at one time. So do as I'm showing now and not as I did just a minute ago. There we go. It's very shimmery on the back of this paper. All the papers like that. It all has silver shimmer to it. So it was a pretty cool pad of paper. Okay, let's line this up one more time. There we go. There we go. It covers the bottom of all the trees. It shows exactly what I want it to be. I'm going to use my press pot to burnish that as soon as I find it on my desk because, you know, when we're crafting, we got some mess going on. And that just spreads the glue and gets us a really good hold. So I wanted to go ahead and do that. I'm a little bit over on this side, so I'm just going to use my little scissors that I have to trim that little piece that's going over. There we go. Perfect. Now, our little green mistake won't matter because when we color our deer, he'll go right over top of it and no one will even see it. But we're not done with the background yet. We still have a couple of more steps I wanted to do. So this is, you love this? Yay! This is, I don't know if you've seen these. These are the fairly new Karin Deco gel pens. This one is called Milky Way, and I'm telling you, it's better than any other white gel pen I have. Like, I may have to buy stock in this stuff. Seriously. It's amazing. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some snow to our trees. So I'm just going to do a little bit of adding snow to the edges of these trees. Now we're going to start out just by adding it to the tops of each one of the branches. It takes a little bit of time to do this, but in the end, it's so worth it. So we're just going to start with this, and then we'll extend them throughout the tree here in a minute, and I'll show you what I mean. But it's best to start off this way. This white gel pen writes every time I try to write with it.
Where can you get them?
Can you show the info on those pens? Like, where can you get them? Yeah, you can get them at Olo. At the Olo company where you buy the Olo Markers, you can buy the Deco gel pens. And they come in a whole set. You can buy them individually, but I bought the whole set, so I have all the colors. They come in all colors. They're just yummy. These are the Milky Way. There's 3 different styles. There's like a star-struck one, and then there's a, what's the other? Metallic. There's a metallic, and then there's the Milky Way. And the Milky Way writes on white and black paper, so you can kind of use it for all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty cool. But I'm telling you, for my white gel pen, this has been better than any other white gel pen I've had so far. And I really loved the one that I had, but this one is so much better. So I'm going to go down here, just adding them just in dots. I'm just doing like dots on top of the branches for where the snow would have caught and sits. And I don't want them to be a straight line, so they're very scattered when I do them. And then I'm going to choose like just a little area to kind of go up and down throughout them, because the branches will also be you know, all over the front. So if you don't add some in the middle, they kind of look funny. So I'm adding just a little bit throughout here. And then I'll go back and add some dots. So it looks like, you know, the snow the flurries are coming around right now, falling down right now. So I did that. So if I hold it up close, you can see how pretty that looks. So we're just going to do that real quick while we're talking. And if you guys have any other questions, if you want, I can share the link for I don't have an affiliate or anything, so you can definitely use the link if you are, you know, so inclined. But I can add the link to this live video underneath after the live is finished, and then that way you guys will be able to find it. But I love this white gel pen, seriously.
Have you tried the Sharpie white pens?
Yes, I have. In fact, I have one right here. But what I'm going to tell you about this one is it is not as bright white as this. Every time I use it, maybe I just have a bad one or something, but every time I use it, it doesn't give me the really bright white. It ends up kind of washed out. Here, I'll show you. This is Dale's, this is the one that Dale created. And if I go in there and I try to put this on top, it's not a bright white. It does still give you a white coating, but it's not as bright as the one that we're doing. So it's also very wet. So you can't really see it. Oh, that's not the one you have. It's a click pen. It comes in a 3-pack. No, I don't have that one. I haven't tried it either. So if it's really good, that's a great idea too. I will have to try those because I struggle with white gel pens, as I've heard other people do too sometimes. But this one I've been extremely happy with. And when I bought it, I didn't even buy it for my gel pen usage. I just bought it because I thought it would be neat to write on the white paper. On the black paper. Plus they were new and I just wanted to try them out. You know, I'm not gonna lie, that nude, check it out. See what it's like, see if I like it, kind of thing. I'm gonna close some of these branches that are in front of the other ones just so that you can kind of see a little bit of separation between what's going on here. This process takes a little bit, but we can definitely talk. You like them? Diana, can you send me a picture of what that pen, that click pen that you're talking about from Sharpie looks like, so I can see if they have it? Can you get it at Walmart? Because I saw some pens at Walmart from Sharpie, but that one doesn't work very well. That paint pen one, I'm not a fan. I like it for other stuff, and I like that it has a brush tip, but it's not good for replacing your white gel pen. So there's no rhyme or reason to which way I'm using this and where I'm adding the lines.
Office Depot.
Office Depot. Great to know. There's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't have to be done a specific way. I'm just randomly putting these lines in between the branches just to kind of show some snow on the trees, even when... There we go. And we'll have to put some on the sky too. That would be great. Thank you so much. I love that you guys are so helpful. And talkative. And when you put your 2 cents in and help us out, we can all learn from that. I love it. Now you can do this with trees and you can add ornaments and all kinds of stuff if you want to these trees and make them.
Yeah, the small one I made so it could be kind of like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, on the stencil there's a really small one that looks a lot like a Christmas tree. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this one and then we'll build the in-between one in a minute. But this takes a few minutes, but it's not that hard. It's really easy to do, but look at how much better it looks. It just makes the background.
Adds a lot more dimension to the trees.
It does. I love it. It's worth it to me. I would do it just for the effect that you get off of it. It really brings it out for sure. And I wouldn't spend too much time with the pen on the paper because it is oxide and it is wet. So you don't want it to turn green. So that's why I'm not drawing lines and stuff, because I want to keep it, white. I don't want it to turn green because the oxides are green. So there's that side. We are going to put a little bit on this side. Just a little bit because it's a bit off the page. Okay. And now we have, I'm going to do this one and then we'll go back and build the inside of it so you guys can see again how we do that. It's very simple. It just takes a little bit of time. Worth it in the end though. Our sweet little deer won't take very long to color, so I think you guys will be surprised at how fast we can color it up. And we're going to color it with Olos tonight. So if you guys missed the live on Tuesday, I also colored with Olos on Tuesday. I wanted to give you a couple of videos with Olos, and then what we'll do is we'll switch back and forth between Copics and Olos so everyone can get like a good amount of videos for each type of medium. They're pretty good, but those that watched Tuesday night will know that I had a blob and we had to fix it. And so that will give you a little bit of a trick on how to fix if your ink blobs on the paper. We came up with a pretty good fix. I have to give lots of credit to those that were watching because they're the ones that asked questions, gave suggestions, and triggered my my mind to come up with a solution to fix the mistake, the blob mistake, and it worked out great. It looks really good. All right, so now we have that one. Now we're going to build in this one real quick. Again, just pick some, you know, some from the left, some from the right, and just build in a little bit of that. It's just kind of making sure that you can see the full part of the tree, even the front part, because it will also have branches on it that you can see, and this will just make it a little bit more obvious what's going on. And then we'll do the dots in there for snow. And I don't have to press hard on this pen at all, which I like. I mean, it's like smooth. It's like, it's definitely gel, that's for sure. But it's just smooth like butter. I like using these pens. I got all of them, so I can show you later in videos all the different pens, but they come in boxes and they have 3 different styles. And I think this one has maybe 10 colors, and the other ones have maybe 20 colors, something like that, something similar to that. I would have to look at the box because I haven't had them very long, so I'm not exactly sure. But every time I touch the paper, I get a dot, which I like because we all know that doesn't always happen. So there is those beautiful trees. I mean, just beautiful. So I'm also going to do a little bit of this white out here, just so it doesn't look like the snow is only on the trees. I mean, we have to include it in the sky as well. And then that means that some will have to be down here. It will look like it's going to be on, falling onto the ground, onto the snowbank.
Hold them up again.
Yes. There you go. So now we have snow falling everywhere. You can see the brown in there that I did, but not, it's just very subtle, which I really, really like. And then I think I might put a little bit around here, around the torn area, just to make that look a little bit like the snow falling on it. Although you can't see it too awful well, it will cover up some of that green that I got on there. And this side where I have some browns that leaked over. You can always fix. You never have to worry about that. Put us a little bit of snow here. Just helps make that snow look a little bit more real.
Tearing paper gives it its own highlight.
Yeah, it does. It's a really neat. I like it. I'm really happy with it. Okay, so the other step that I want to do with this one is I want to spray it, and we need it to dry while we're coloring. So I want to spray it with this Art Anthology Ice. And what that does is it just gives it a really light shimmer. So I'm going to grab my little box so I can spray it right on my desk while you guys are watching. And I don't want to spray too much because I don't want to bleed the color. So I want to spray from kind of far away. And just give it that light. And when it dries, it will leave a shimmer on there. And I'll show you the shimmer. I bet we'll be able to see it once it dries. Right now you can't really see it on there. It is going to shimmer, though. You can kind of tell it's starting to do it. So we're going to set that aside and let that dry. And then we're going to get out our little deer. This is our little deer from the Woodland Critters stamp set that releases tomorrow. So cute, so adorable. I actually have a different mat that I use when I'm coloring that kind of holds it. It's called a standard grip, and I got this at the dollar store. And I'm just gonna stick my little deer on there so I can move it around while I'm coloring. And it'll kind of hold it still so I don't have to worry so much about it, especially since I have ink on my fingers. I wouldn't really do that. So, yay, you love it. I love hearing that. So I have all the Olo markers pulled. I have them in this Olo stand that I have here. So they're all kind of standing up in there. And we're going to start with the white area of the deer. So I'm going to use WG3, 1, and 0 to do that part. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit closer what we're doing, especially if you're watching on a phone or something you want to be able to see. So WG3 is what we're going to start with. Excuse me. And this area above the eye and here is all going to be white, and so is the tail. So, I mean, not really white, but kind of a grayish color. So I'm just going to start by adding that in there. I have a runny nose today. I'm sorry. I need to stop for a second. And then up underneath the nose right here. So it's going to look really funny to start off with. And remember, because it does blob sometimes, I'm going to be watching the tip really closely to make sure that it doesn't get too juicy. Just going to put a few like strands of fur in there. It's not a lot, it's just a little bit, because this is the darkest color and I want it to appear a little more on the white side than gray. And this marker is getting really juicy. So I'm really kind of glad we're almost done with it. Okay, so those are just the little places that I want to put this color. This one is WG1, and we're going to blend and extend. So we're going to go over and then extend out from where we put that other color. So over it and then extend. Going to add a little bit under the eye. A little bit on the chin, because we only have one more color to go. So some of it is sort of the same process that we use for Copics, because they're both alcohol markers. And then along his tail and the little tips. And then we're going to come in with WG0, and we're just going to blend the rest of that out. So over what we did in the previous step, and then extend out a little bit further. So it will be fully colored in with this last color. Super cute, still really, really light. Hi, Donna. And then we're going to blend this one out. Just like that. If you decide that you'd like to have a little bit more detail in there and it washed out a little bit, you can always go back with the darkest one, which is the WG3, and just add in a little more depth if you want to. I'm just going to do it on the artist drawn lines just because that specifies where the artist was indicating the lines would be. The fur would curve up and such. And then a little bit up here on the eye, just so that stays a little bit darker and under the nose. And then if they're it's a sneak peek of the new release, Donna. It's going to be releasing tomorrow. It'll be in the set called Woodland Critters. And I'm just blending out anything that got a harsh line on it when I added the darker color to it. So that's all I was doing, and I used WG1 with that. I'm not going to use the 0 again. I'm just going to stop at that point. Next, I'm going to do the, thank you. I'm glad you guys like it. He's really cute. He's a Doux design drawn image, so I'm super proud of him. We're going to do his little pink ears, so we're going to start with R02. R0.2, and this one is going to be darker than the other color we're going to use, so I'm going to do more of the inside of the ear with this one. Just put that inside part in there. I'm so glad you guys like him. I love him. R0.1, we're going to just go over and extend out. Soften that line if necessary. And then it gives us a really soft pink in the ears. If we feel when we're done that it's too bright, we can go in with the W0. One really fast swipe over it will tone it down a little bit. Okay, so next we're going to do the antlers. And the antlers, I have chosen O7.7, O7.3, and O7.1. So the 7.7 is what will do the shadow area, or the darkest part of it. So I'm going to do that around this bottom part of the antler. And then just a little bit in the curve areas. Right here. And then along the bottom part of this one as well. And then we're going to switch to O7.3. So the O stands for orange. I know these are not orange, but it is how they do their color system. So it's taken me a lot of time to get used to O versus E's, and it's a little bit of a challenge. I won't lie, that part's a bit on the challenging side. So I just went around a little bit around some of the outside of it and softened that darkest color, and then I'm going to go in with my O7.1, which is the lightest color, and I'm just going to touch the white, the part that is still white, with this, and that should give me the antler color that I'm looking for. So before we get into the whole body of all of it, let's do the eyes. So there's a couple of ways that you can do eyes. You can just do the bottom part dark and then get lighter and lightest at the top, but we're going to actually build a little bit more into these eyes. So what I want to do is put my shadow area, or my darkest area, on the inside of the eye here, and over the top where his eyebrow is. And then on this side, we're going to put it at the bottom and at the top. You won't be able to see any detail in this eye, but you will in this one. So then I'm going to grab my B46, and I'm going to soften this a little bit, and I'm going to go around the outside, other outside part of the eye. That one I'm just going to soften each edge. And then I'm going to use this B43 to blend this out. So if you're not used to doing eyes and you want to just leave it like this, you can. It is totally okay. It stands out. It looks beautiful. But we're going to go just one step further. We're going to go back to our B46, and we're just going to put a few little flicks out here just to emphasize that part of the eye. We're going to kind of do it all the way around, but these ones you probably won't see that much over here. So it's just building in a little bit of that. Now, I don't want to wash it out or anything, but I am going to use my colorless blender, which is my 0 marker, to kind of tap in these areas in between those lines to kind of lighten them up just a tad bit so they'll be exactly the way that I want them to be. Now, note, this is a way different process than what I do when I build these eyes with the Copics. But the reason is because these are so juicy that you have to be a little bit careful with them. A little bit more careful with them than you are with the other ones. So if I hold this up, you can really see that there's some realistic look in those eyes. Okay. These markers roll all over my desk. It drives me crazy. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to do the nose, the spots, and the feet. You love that little cutie? He is part of the new release that releases tomorrow. I love him too. So we're going to start with WG7. And we're going to start down here with these little hooves. I'm going to build it on the back side and underneath. So the back side and the bottom.
What paper are you using for your stamps?
It's on Hammer Mill. 80 pound is what I have. And that's what we're coloring on right now. And then some of these larger spots, I'm going to do the underside of them. And I need to hold my marker upright so I don't get too much ink in there. It is really hard to do tiny, tiny spots. So I'm not going to do any with the top up there with this marker. You're welcome. And then WG5. And by the way, Donna, your markers are done. I was waiting for the nibs to arrive from Violetta Ink. But they arrived tonight. So I will be getting with you soon. Okay, so we're just extending. I'm going around the outside and extending so that I can get that medium color in there on the little hooves. Now I want to keep these spots more dark than light, so I'm going to fill them all in with this color. I'm not going to do anything with the last color on these spots. They're so tiny. And these markers are so juicy that I can't really do a lot of detail on them. But if we decide we want a little spot on them, we can use the white gel pen. You're just waiting patiently. Okay, I did miss the nose though. We can make them Rudolph if you guys want, or we can make them just a regular deer. It is going to be a Christmas card, so maybe we should make his little nose red. So with red, I'm just going to use two colors. I'm going to use the R1.7 and 1.5. So 1.7 first, and I'm going to put that along the bottom of the nose. Just a small little part. And then R1.5 is what I'm going to fill in the rest of it with, because that's a really bright red. And I think that will do exactly what we need it to do. Yes, make his nose red. Make him Rudolph. So cute. And then I'm going to go to that W3 that we had out earlier. I'm going to pull that back out so that I can blend the rest of his hooves with this W3. So I'm just going to kind of put this marker over the whole hoof. And you don't want to do a lot of blending because it'll wash out the dark colors we put in there. So I'm just barely touching the paper and adding a bit of this W3 to the hooves. I know, look at that nose. We're almost done. We just have the body now to do, and I have chosen OR 4.8, OR 3.7, OR 7.6, and OR 7.4 for my colors for the deer. So we're going to start with the shadow area, which is going to be our OR 4.8. So I'm just going to start on the back of him. So this part that's under his belly needs to have some darkness to it. And then around these areas. And then here and underneath his fur. And this leg right here, which is behind the other one. So we want to have some on that one. And then this one that's under his tail and kind of down his back leg. I'm also going to put a small amount separating the little hooves from the body. And then we're going to start moving up. So we're going to put a little bit underneath these fur areas just to keep that separated as well. And then his neck, this part of his neck. We're going to do the whole thing, so we're just going to move on to his head now. So under his ear, see these markers are rolling all over my desk. This underside of this ear, and this back side. Then we're going to come along and put a little bit underneath these antlers. It'll help them stand out just a little bit more. And then a little bit right along the top of his head, up his ear, maybe down this little split right there, and then this side of his head. We need a little bit down here. I don't want to put too much. We'll do more with the second color there. I'm not going to close my cap. I'm just going to put the lid on it in case we need it again. So they tell you when you're using Olo markers, the more you open and shut the caps, the more ink gets suctioned out. And so we don't want any blobs, so I'm not closing the caps. Just in case you were wondering why I wasn't closing the caps. So I'm extending out from where I put that last color. So I'm going to extend it down and I'm extending out. So I'm going to do a little bit here on this inside, and then a little bit going the other way for this underside of his belly, and then this leg. So extending out from here. And when you're doing this, if you see that line, like, let me hold that up close so you can see. You haven't done much coloring since the retreat. A little that I have done forces me to use the Olos. So see the line where you can see the dark marker and the light marker? If you work that line right here, it'll soften that up and then go away. See? You just work that line along that line until it disappears. And then you're good to go. Good to move on for the next step. So the marker, when you buy the Olo marker, you buy half a marker like this. You pick what kind of tip you want on it. You buy half a marker. There's no opening the other end. And then you can buy these little connector pieces that go in the center that look like this. And then you choose what you want to be on the other end. So there's just a stem that you can use that doesn't have anything, that just extends your, it's an extender that just makes your pen long enough to hold in your hand. Or you can put another brush nib on the other end or a chisel on the other end. I chose to put a refill on the other end. So that's why there's no cap on this end, because this is a refill. That way I know I'll never run out and I don't have to worry about which end I was using and which end I wasn't. So you get to build your own with Olos. So that's kind of one of their selling points, is you build your own marker the way that you want it. I'm going to do a little bit from the front leg. I mean, I just thought it was better to have a refill, so I built mine that way, but not everybody's will be the same. So it's everybody chooses what works for them, and this is what I think will work best for me. And since I had that really dark color down here, I'm just going to go up on these little feet to soften that. So they can be double-sided if you choose to have them double-sided. Mine is not. It's only one-sided.
Diana asked, do you prefer Olo or Copic?
Diana, the answer to that is no and never. But that's a personal opinion. There are people that do, but I do not. You can ask if you want me to expand further on my why I feel that way. And I'm more than happy to share that with you guys. But I'm a Copic girl. I am using the Olos. One, I wanted to know how they worked. And two, I wanted to be able to color for those that have chosen to use their Olos instead of using Copics. So I noticed that there weren't a lot of videos. There's not a lot of people like showing a lot of detail on how to color with them, and I wanted to help those people as well. So I've been learning how to use them so I can teach it, but it is not my go-to. it blends. It's beautiful. You can get great results with either marker, but there's just a few things that just will always keep me in the Copic world. I mean, I'm a Copic girl. You guys know me. I love my Copics. So sometimes I'll be coloring with Copics and sometimes I'll be coloring with Olos, just so that everybody who uses different markers gets a chance to see how it's done with the marker of their choice. Just helping people out.
What's the price point of Olo compared to Copic?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, so there's a few things. So initially, when you purchase the Olo marker, if you buy a half a marker, it's somewhere in the $4 to $5 range, which is less expensive than a Copic, but you are getting half a marker. If you add a refill and a marker together, it's maybe slightly less expensive than ordering a full Copic marker. However, with that being said, while the initial price sounds like it's cheaper, in the long run, when you buy a refill for Copics, you can refill that marker 8 to 10 times, and it's like $5 something, $6, something like that on Violetta ink. If you buy the Olo refills, you get one refill, one for between $2 and $3. So to me, by the time I get enough refills to make up what a Copic would be, what a Copic refill would be, it's not cheaper to do it this way. However, I color all the time. When I'm live and when I'm not live, I mean, I color almost every single day. So I need that amount of refills. But for those who are just hobby colorists that just color every now and then when they make a card, they might not want to spend $8 on buying refills for, you know, or $6 to buy the refills for all their markers, because they may not use all the ink in their marker for a very long time. So they may not want or need, but they might need to refill once. So in that case, for them, it may be cheaper for them to use an Olo marker. For me, it would not. It would not. I've calculated it 1,000,000 times, and there's no way to make it cheaper for me. But for the hobbyist who doesn't color very often, yes, it could very well be less expensive. But the one thing I want you to really remember when you're considering it is there's no way to open the other end of the marker and release the pressure so it doesn't blob on your paper. There's no way. There's nothing around that. There's no way to stop it once the flow starts coming. I mean, once my marker is exploding, it's exploding the whole time that I'm trying to use it. I mean, it doesn't matter what I do. If I sit it like this, if I close it, if I leave it open, there's nothing I can do about it. It just, and then I have to blob it on paper to get some of the excess ink off, and then I'm wasting my ink. So that part is a little bit frustrating. I don't have that problem with Copics ever, because I open both ends and that has solved that issue from ever happening. So there is that part that you have to keep in mind, that you might be frustrated. So I would say buy one or two, or one of those small sets that they have out there, and see if you like it before you invest in the full amount, because it's not cheap. It's cheaper, but it's not cheap. Also, there are 160 colors of Olo, and they are working on more. And there are 358 Copic markers. So there are more colors and more variation at that point. So it's really not a which one is better. If you're asking me which one should I buy or which one is better, there's not, one is not better than the other per se. It's about what your needs are, what your particular needs are. So for me, I need Copics, but that might not be the case for you. So I don't want to say anything bad about the Olos because they do blend beautifully. I mean, look at this deer. He is looking amazing. And all with Olo markers. So they do give you great, beautiful results. Just like the Copics do. You can get there if you practice with either marker. And probably any of the other ones on any of the other alcohol markers on the market as well. Watercolor girl, Beth, you're a watercolor girl. I'm going to tell you, I'm inexperienced with watercoloring. I've tried it a few times and I am just not good at it. It doesn't mean I couldn't get there if I continued to practice, but honestly, I'm like that instant gratification kind of girl. And if I can't make it happen, then I'm like, yeah, I just want to grab my Copics. It's kind of like color pencils. Like I had a lot of practice with color pencils in college. I used Prismacolors in college. And I got pretty good with them, but it's been a really long time. And I just don't want to take the time to like perfect them at this time. I'm like, oh, I need that instant gratification. I'm just going to grab my Copics and get it done. So, or Olos, in this case, I feel pretty practiced and pretty fluent in the, even though I haven't been using the Olos very long, I feel like I can get really good blending and I feel like I know the marker fairly well. I don't know everything, and if I don't have your answer, I can look it up for you or ask someone to get you an answer, but I definitely feel like I can answer the coloring questions with them because I can make them work. They work beautifully, but there are some downsides. The spilling of the ink is frustrating. Tonight, they seem to be behaving fairly well. But if you watched my Tuesday night live or the replay on YouTube, it is time consuming. If you watch the YouTube video from last night's live, you will see that it blobbed right in the middle of one of my projects. It was a little bit stressful. I didn't think we were going to be able to get it to, blend out because it was red. But we came up with an alternative to fix it and it worked great. So I wouldn't say that even the blobbing would make it a no-go, because I think there are things that you can do to fix it when it happens. But it can be very frustrating when you're actually using them and it's just running out and you're like, stop, just stop. The flow needs to stop. It can be a little bit on the frustrating side, but they don't always, I don't know what makes them do that. I mean, I've been told several different reasons why they do that, but I haven't found a consistent reason. Like sometimes they say if you leave your markers open when you're coloring, it won't happen, but I've done that and it still happens. They say it won't do it unless you touch the marker to paper, and I can hold it up like this and it'll just run out. So I haven't really been able to come up with anything confirmed as to why it happens. So there we go. Look how cute. Look how cute this little guy is. I think we are going to take the W0 was it W0 or W1? Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, there it is, W0. And we're just going to do one quick swipe over top of the ears. On the camera, on the video, they look light, but in person they look really dark. So I don't want them to look that way. Oops, I lifted them up before I did the white gel pen. Since I found this white gel pen that works so good for me, I like to add a lot of white gel pen. More than I ever have before. So we're going to do the eyes again with the white gel pen just because it helps them stand out a little bit. I'm going to add another little dot on there. And then I'm going to add a little bit on his, in his ear. And then on the antlers a little bit, just because there'll be some highlight on there. And maybe we'll put just a little dots on here to make, this is how I get the highlight on these. It makes them look really cute, but we didn't have to do that with something else. We had to do that with the white gel pen because the area is so tiny. But it's really cute. So I'm gonna add a little bit to the tail here, here, and here. And then we're going to add a little bit on the little feet. So I want to make sure they're laying down. So a little bit on the front sides of the little bitty hooves. There we go. And maybe we need a tad bit right up here on the little red nose to make that stand out a little bit more. Absolutely adorable. Thank you so much. So now we're going to check on our background. So I'm going to zoom out so you guys can see what we're doing. Here's our background that we had. Of course, it curled just a little bit because of all of the spray that we put on it. And it looks like I didn't have this glued down. So we're going to glue this down. Just because I glued the front part of it. What white?
Gel pen.
Oh, I use a lot of white pens, never have enough. Yeah, this is my favorite one I've ever found. This is the new Deco gel pen from Karin. Is that how you say it? I think Karin. Deco gel, and it's Milky Way. It's the Milky Way white, number 209. I don't know if the 209 matters, but at least you have the number. But I'll show you the full set in a minute if you want to see it, because I bought the full set. But the white one, it stays with my alcohol markers because it is so good. I haven't yet opened it up and had it not work for me. And that's unusual with a white gel pen. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Okay. So for some reason, I just had missed gluing that down. I'm going to grab my cardstock so we can choose a background on it. But while I'm doing that, you can see these are the Deco Gel Milky Way pens. Let's move that stuff over. There's 10 of them, and when you open them up, they look like this. These are the colors. And they're refillable, so you don't ever have to throw the pen away. I need my cardstock real quick. So they're really pretty. They only come in 10 colors, but they write on black paper and white paper, so they're pretty cool. I really like them. They come in this nice box to keep them in. Yeah. Oh, he looks so real. He is a cutie. I love him. Okay, so I was thinking that we could either go with a blue-ish background, or we could go like this one. I think is a blue-green. Or if we wanted to bring the blue out a little more, we could use blue. it will also show on the eyes a little bit of the blue. So we could do blue or blue-green. I think you can order just a white one. Yes, I do, Kathy. You have to go to the Olo website or the Karin marker website and look, but I'm pretty sure that you can buy just the white one. Or we could use brown as the background. So we have brown as well. So we could do the brown. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, look, blue, blue. Blue and blue. Okay. So the dark blue, I'm assuming that is this one. So we also have to do the sentiment still. So just hang in there. We're almost there. Grab my bone folder here. I love this. It's from Trinity Stamps. It's I forget what they call it, but it works so good. Teflon, is that what it is? It works really good. So this one is already, it's already cut to size. It's the size that I knew I would need for the card. And then we're gonna put the glue on the back. And when I get this together, I'll show you the shimmer. It's so pretty. It's hard to see on camera, but we can move it around enough until we can see it. So whenever I'm gluing my background on, I always get it exactly where I want it. And the Barely Art glue gives me, I guess, a second or two to like move it around and get it lined up exactly where I want it. So I don't like to use my my little press pop on the front. So I just flip it over and press it with the back. That way I won't move it by mistake. And this spreads the glue, gets a really good hold, makes everything good. So there we go. This is our background. Now we have our little deer who's going to be standing over here. I like him right here. He's so cute. Oh my goodness. This is a really cute card, you guys. I'm very happy with how it came out. This is the Merry Christmas that I stamped from the Night Divine set that released last month. Night Divine. Maybe it was a month before. I can't remember. Anyway, I used the stamp right there from this one. And it is available in the shop as well. This one will be available in the Woodland Critter set at 8 a.m. in the morning. So I think what I want to do is, and I'm kind of known for this, but I want to separate, like I like the sentiment, but I don't like how far apart they are from each other. Or I want them to be further apart. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to fussy cut this sentiment out real quick the way that I want it to be, because, you know, you can do that when it's yours, right? You can just make it whatever you want. So I'm cutting very close to the letters so I can put them wherever I want and they won't distract from my image on the card. Because honestly, for me, I want my focal point to be the stuff I worked hard on. So there is Christmas. And then now I'm going to cut out the Merry. And then that way I can put them wherever I want, however I want. And I don't have to worry about, oh, this one's too long to fit where I wanted it to be, because I can put them in different places if I want. I do this kind of often. I cut sometimes with the dies and sometimes not. Sometimes I cut them the way I want them to be. So now I have Merry and Christmas. And I think I want to put a little bit of color around the edges of the word, just so it has a little bit of color to it. So I'm going to use this Stormy Sky again, and I'm just going to go around and just kind of soften that white. I just don't want that white to jump out on you on the card. Although Christmas is important. And this will be saying Merry Christmas to someone. I just want to soften those edges just a little bit. I feel like it'll just make it look better. So I just hold it in my fingers and just use whatever ink is left on the brush from when we did the background. And it'll just soften that up a little bit. The more I use it, the harder I have to do it so that ink comes out, because there's not a lot of ink in this brush. There we go. So we have, it's just a little bit of blue. It's hard to see for you guys, but I can see it really well here. And then I do have some bling to put on here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue down our little guy. I mean, you could wobble him if you wanted to, but I kind of feel like he's going to go through the mail. And I want it to be as flat as possible because I mail like 50 cards, and for, you know, cost of shipping is kind of high these days. So I'm going to take him and place him on my card where I want him. I think he'll be good. Maybe up just a little bit higher. Like right there. I think he'll be good right there. So I want to make sure he's, yep, he's good. So now I'm going to push him down, and then I'm going to flip it over again, and I'm just going to press it with my press pop. Make sure I get a really good hold. And we're going to flip it over. And now I'm going to decide where I want this to be, which I'm assuming I probably want it up here somewhere. You need to get your mojo back. Come on. Bring it on. I think I'm going to use my tweezers to move these around. Otherwise, they stick to my finger, and then I can't see what I'm doing. So maybe over here. And then Christmas down here. I kind of like it like that. That makes me happy. And then I did pull some bling out that I have from, you know, Michael's or Hobby Lobby or wherever these things come from. They're called Christmas crafts, probably Michael's, because that's, you know, usually where I pick this stuff up when it's 40% off. And then we're going to use some of these snowflakes, and I don't know which color yet. So I have silver, where I have white, or I could just put one, or I have this blue. I think I like the white, and there's only one white one in this pack, so I'm gonna open this one because I think there's more in here. There we go. So I'll probably put the other two up here because, you know, I gotta go in odd numbers. So probably, it kind of covers up a lot. Maybe I can put one down here. Covers a lot of my trees I worked so hard on. So maybe I'll put this one here, and I'll put this one over here. Maybe like that. And then we'll have some snowflakes, and we'll have our Christmas, and it will be so cute. They are a little bit big for going through the mail, but they're cute, so I can't help myself. Maybe this one will just go to somebody I hand it to. And then there's my Christmas. And I'm going to put that right here. So notice how this sentiment now became a different one because I cut it apart. It didn't have to be right on top of the Christmas. It can be wherever I want it to be. And I like that. I like being able to move it around the way that I want. For the backs of these, to stick them down, I'm going to use glue dots. I have, they're from Stampin' Up, these Stampin' Up glue dots, but you can get glue dots wherever you normally get glue dots. They pretty much have them at most places. You can take your glue dot off like this, or you can do it an easier way, which I'll show you in just a minute, because this one is sticking to that. There we go. Or I usually pick these up and I lay it right on top of the dot. When I press it down and lift it up, the dot stays on top of there. So that makes it a lot easier to put on the card. So that's generally what I do. It just makes it easier. Now we just have to add an inside panel, which for some reason I don't have any pre-cut, unfortunately. So we'll just use this hammer mill that I have, but I don't usually use hammer mill for the inside. I use it for coloring only. That way it lasts longer. But on this particular card, we'll go ahead and use it since we don't have any other ones. I just made like 20 something cards last night, so yeah, I ran out of the insides. So it goes like this, and then I flip it over and I sign the back. Always, always, always sign your work, otherwise people won't remember who did it or who it came from. So always sign your work. That way people can find you and ask you for more. And I'm sending that to you tonight. I just might send it to you. You're going to be on my Christmas card list. So here it is. For a quick recap, the background is the new release stencil that releases tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. along with the woodland critters. There are more critters. This is just the only one you get the sneak peek on tonight. I actually made it on another card, just if you want to see another variety of ways you can make this cute little guy. There are also 2 more sets that'll be coming out, and then the stencil, of course, don't forget to pick that up. And the Instagram hop starts tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. If you can't, if you don't know where to start, look for Pajama Crafter Stamps. You can find them in there. Yay, I'm glad you guys like it. I can put it in the box when I mail the stuff. Oh my goodness, I do have to mail your stuff soon. But I have a lot of Christmas cards so far. I still have a few more to make, but I have been really, really getting them done. I have one to show you though, because those who were with me at the retreat recently will know exactly where these stamps came from. So I got these penguins. I think it's Art Impressions, and it's Joni had the stamps, so we stamped them and colored them at her house, and they're so cute. The cards turned out really cute. Anyway, so this is our deer, and it will be in the Woodland Critter set. If you're watching this replay on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to know the details on where to find the stuff and what Olo markers I used, check the description, and I will be able to, you'll be able to find what you need. Not rubbernecker stamps, Art Impressions, Art Impressions is where that other stamp set came from. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. It was super fun. You guys were very interactive, and I super appreciate that. So you guys have a great night. You just signed your cards and you can put them in the mail. Good job. Before December 1st. Way to go. This is the stencil, just so you can see it. Still has my stickers on it, but there are 3 trees and a deer, and this is how you can build snow, and that looks like a Christmas tree. So that's the stencil, and it will be in the shop in the morning, so don't forget to swing on by and check it out. And you guys have a great evening. Love you guys. Come back and see me next week on Tuesday. We're going to be doing them at 8:30 Central, Tuesday and Thursday. Good night.